I actually right now at the moment feel like my subscribers, when a story comes out in the state that they live in or somewhere in some surrounding area and aren't too familiar with a particular story. And this being one of them. If it didn't come across my timeline, I would not have known about it. So this guy's name is Brandon Troy Higgs. He's 25 years of age. It's kind of hard to tell by looking at his picture, but something tells me that even if it wasn't for the markings on his face, he probably still wouldn't look 25. But he was just recently sentenced to 25 years in prison for killing a black man back in 2018. Like I said, this is my first time hearing about it. I've been doing these style of YouTube videos since 2016, and I've never heard of this story right here, and it happened in my backyard. So this is rare because he got way more years than most people would assume he would have gotten, considering, the circumstances. But many, including myself, feels that he should have got way more. Now, I'm almost to believe that it was a reason why he only got 25 years, and I hope this article from the Baltimore Sun lays it out for us. A Reisterstown man was sentenced to 25 years in prison Wednesday after being found guilty of shooting a black man and telling him to go back to Africa, which was deemed a hate crime. I'm shocked they even got him on the hate crime, because they love to let that one slide. This was a very heinous case. We believe that 25 years to serve is important, but he will also have an additional 15 years hanging over his head when he gets out, which we think is important to protect the public. In addition to the prison sentence, Brandon Troy Higgs must serve 5 years probation after getting out, with an additional 15 years in prison possible if he has a probation violation. Higgs was arrested December 20, 2018 after he shot Elvis Smith, now 60, in the leg while shouting racial slurs as a fight broke out between the two. Now, I didn't know that the person he shot is still alive. No wonder he only got 25 years. Now I can kind of see it. Shouting racial slurs as a fight broke out between the two. Higgs was found guilty of first-degree assault, attempted voluntary manslaughter, hate crimes, and related firearms charges. Smith and another man, Robert Pete, were laying a concrete driveway 2 houses down from Higgs' house, according to court records. After Higgs' dog ran through the wet concrete, he came outside to get it, according to the state's attorney office. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent his dog to run through the concrete just so he could have a reason to go over and confront those guys. Then Higgs, Pete, and Smith began exchanging heated words. Higgs asked Pete and Smith to come to his home if they had a problem. Smith and Pete went back to fixing the concrete, and Higgs walked back inside of his home. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Higgs came back with a jacket on and a loaded handgun in one pocket and an extra magazine in the other. Another confrontation ensued, and Higgs began yelling racial and derogatory statements towards Pete and Smith. In court, Smith testified that Higgs called him the N-word and told him to go back to Africa. Higgs then got in Smith's face and pushed him. Smith testified in court that he did not physically react until Higgs pushed him in the chest, at which point Smith said he struck Higgs in the head with a rake used for spreading concrete. A struggle began and Higgs reached to pull out his gun. Pete and Smith tried to disarm him, and the fight began to move towards Higgs' home. As Higgs and Smith were fighting, he began to point the gun towards Pete, but his arm was swatted away. Smith then was shot in the leg by Higgs while the two wrestled. Smith was permanently injured by the shooting, according to court records. A metal rod had to be surgically implanted into his leg. That right there was probably the other additional years added on because he actually caused this man to have a permanent injury. Smith and Pete eventually disarmed Higgs and held him until police arrived. Baltimore County Assistant State's Attorney John McGee argued that Higgs attacked and confronted Smith specifically because he was a black man. Higgs' defense attorney Jim Crawford argued Higgs was acting in self-defense and was trying to leave the scene of a fight before losing control of a semi-automatic pistol. What a load of shit. So, hold on, time out. That's your argument. Even after this guy came out and confronted them after his dog ran through wet cement that they were laying down so they could do work, this guy went back to his house and came back with a gun. That is not self-defense. At that point, you've come to try to kill somebody or kill somebody. Mind you, he approached them, not the other way around. They were minding their business. He was looking for the smoke. I'm glad the judge and the jury did not fall for that self-defense crap. Higgs was found guilty of the charges in January. He was originally charged with attempted first-degree murder. We appreciate the hard work from the jury in this case, Schellenberger said. He should have got the first-degree attempted murder, in my honest opinion, because that was his intent. He went back to his home and got the gun. They say you don't bring a gun unless you plan on using it, and he did. Unfortunately, fortunately the guy's still alive. Unfortunately, it caused permanent damage. But at least he's still breathing. I hope he got some kind of restitution out of this. I hope both of them did, honestly. But it looks to me like he's already seen better days if he got beat up in prison. I wonder if he tried to be and use that tough guy act behind bars. That doesn't work on the inside. So I hope he enjoys the rest of his 25 years wherever. 25 years, and he's 25. He won't be out until he's 50, and then he's going to have an additional 15 years hovering over his head. So technically, he won't be quote unquote free from the system until he's 65. Well, it is what it is. It's what he deserves.